And so we ring the gong 3 times to remind us to live in the presence. It's a very different Easter Sunday for all of us. Traditionally, this is a holiday when we get together with our families and friends. It's celebrated across the world by all Christians to recognize that Christ rose from the dead today. And we're not gathering on this important holiday at the center in person today. We're in stay-at-home mode. And yet we can celebrate together, be it together apart. We can meet in our hearts and in our consciousness, and we can know that what the media is calling a pandemic can be an opportunity for us to rise up. In the 18th century, Alphonse de Lamartine said these words: "Grief knits 2 hearts in closer bonds than happiness ever can. And common sufferings are far stronger links than common joys." And we've had a common grief in this country over the past several weeks. And yet I believe we are bonding together in ways that we haven't for years. We're creating a stronger nation to move through these pandemic times. We see actors and musicians on TV creating Facebook Live and messages of thanking doctors and medical staff and all those essential workers that are helping us, coming together so that we may live healthier lives. Last week I talked a little bit about what it would be to roll away the stone from that tomb of something that you'd let die within yourself for whatever reasons. I'm happy to report that I did that, and it was very satisfying. So I'm hoping that each of you have tried that and rolled away the stone from something while you have some time to give it some attention. But today our topic is Rise Up. And I plan to explore ways in which we can rise up above the thoughts of immobility and restrictions. We can rise up above that fear, above that public media that's trying to create limitations and fear in our life. We can rise up to see the joys of staying at home. I read somewhere this week that it's almost like Mother Nature is sending us to our rooms so that we can figure out what's really important and what we've done and how we've come to this place and who we are. That's an interesting thought. The world being sent to their room to figure out who we are. It's not the exact quote, but the idea is there. We're given an opportunity to reflect on our lives, to renew our faith, to remember who we've come here to be. I use this quote often at Easter. In Romans it says, "Don't conform to the ways of the world. Be you transformed by the renewing of your mind." God is always present for us. Separation from source is a human behavior. It's not God's way of being. Wherever we are, God is. This is a time for awakening. If you look outside, the flowers of spring are starting to bloom. They're showing us that new life is here. And it's time for us to bloom and express a new life within ourselves. To create a new way of thinking. To be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Transformed to what we really believe. to who we know we are, and to remembering that there is no spot where God is not. So I always have a question for you, and today the question is this. What choice could you make today so that you might know that wherever you are and wherever you go, the Christ is in your ship? Wherever you are and wherever you go, the Christ is in your ship. Now you might notice that I said the Christ, not Christ, but the Christ is in your ship. And what I mean by that is that we all have a certain level of Christ consciousness. Some more than others. I know I've been working on mine for decades. That Christ-likeness, that ability to be less aggressive when things come up into our lives that are unexpected or that we find unpleasant. And for some of you, the aggressions might be towards this stay-at-home order, towards this immobility that we're being asked to stay in so that the whole world can heal. Today I'm going to ask you to rise up above the grief and to find your joy. Joel Goldsmith wrote that Jesus never said he would be resurrected. He did say, I am the resurrection. I am the resurrection and the light. The I am is the resurrection. Your I am is whatever might resurrect you out of this fear, this limitations, any lack that you might feel, into living a life that you enjoy living every day, that supports everybody else in doing the same thing. That's your resurrecting power. And it's right inside who you are. This past week for Christians is called Holy Week. It's filled with events that are associated with Jesus, starting with Palm Sunday that we talked a little bit about last week, and ending with the resurrection on this day that we now call Easter. For Jesus, there were times of doubt, of betrayal. There was a crucifixion and then a resurrection. In Philosophy of Jesus, Ernest Holmes reminds us this. Jesus was not the great exception. He was the great example. Jesus was not the great exception. He was the great example. And he wrote further that as the human gives way to the divine in all people, they become the Christ. As we give way to the divine in all people, recognizing the divinity in each of us, we become the Christ. Let's look at that. The truth is, we've all had our times of questioning and doubt. Wishing we could get out of an assignment, wishing that we didn't have to face something that was heading our way in order to be able to really move forward. I've done that. Sometimes it's as little a doubt as I don't feel like making that phone call. We've all faced betrayals. Some literal ones. Sometimes when everything other than God that we looked for to comfort us and to put meaning into our lives died or was emptied out. And we've also had some crucifixions. Some of us probably in the past few weeks. Those unstructuring, dismantling of our lives the way we knew them. Having to allow them to die to our limitations. And sometimes we are dying to our limitations rather than from them. And then somehow, by the grace of God, by the power of renewal, by resurrecting ourselves from our fears, our lack, our limitations. We've been lifted up. We've been rewoven, and our lives are reborn at a higher level, at a new level of joy and understanding of what this life is on this planet. We've essentially been transformed by the renewing of our minds, by the recognition that the Christ is in our ship. Easter's a story of the power of spirit that lives deeply within each of our lives. In the very cells, the very fiber of our beings, all throughout our bodies. It's a story that moves with all things, that lifts things over and over again, above the challenges, above the sorrows, above the limitations of the world, into a story of overcoming and renewal. So it's today, on Easter Sunday, that I remind you to pause. Remember that in the darkest moments, the deepest trials, the dramatic times of struggle and fear, of doubt, of depression, that there is a light. There is that spirit presence, that truth of the divine that lives at the very center of our being. And it brings and burns within us a power that we can use to do anything. It's that power that we can turn to, that we can find within, to work through us. We can speak it into action so that it can be done unto us as we believe. We can rise up above whatever challenge we're taking. We can accept this power, we can access it, this Christ that's within each of us, to invoke a renewal when we realize that there's something more than our daily human experience. And when we realize that, we begin to touch the God side of ourselves. I don't know about you, but I want to touch that God side of myself a lot. And so what I've created for you today is a meditation and a process. It involves having 4 note cards and a pen. And since I recognize that a lot of you may not have had that, I'm going to pause, sing a little bit of Alleluia, because it is Easter, and allow you time to get those 4 note cards and a pen. Alleluia, 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 Alleluia. God is in me, 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 God is in me. Alleluia, 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 Alleluia. So I'm hoping that you've located some pen and paper, and we're ready to get started with this process. The process is designed to invoke our God side on a daily basis, right in our homes. So I invite you to take a deep, nourishing breath. Release any thoughts of the outside world. Move into your heart. Become aware of your breathing. Awaken only to this present moment. And I invite you to imagine your living space, that part of your home where you spend a lot of your time. Imagine the energy that you want to bring into that room. Perhaps it's aliveness. Perhaps it's connection. Feel that energy in your heart. Whatever it is that you decide that living space within your home to be. And see yourself in that space, feeling those loving qualities. Feel the energy of that space. And when you can truly feel those qualities, take out your first card and write 2 or 3 of the qualities that came to mind. And when you've written the qualities, write down on that same card something that you're grateful for about your living area. I'm grateful I have a comfortable chair. I'm grateful I have room to visit with friends. Whatever it is. And now take a deep, nourishing breath again. I invite you to close your eyes. And imagine the kitchen in your home. See yourself in that space. And just imagine the energy that you want to bring to that kitchen. How do you want it to feel? Nourishing, lively, rejuvenating. What is it for you that you want your kitchen to be? And feel that in your heart. And see yourself in your kitchen, feeling all those qualities. Just imagine that. And then on your second card, write down the 2 or 3 qualities that came to mind. And once again, write a brief sentence about what it is that you're grateful for about your kitchen. And now I'm going to have you take a deep, nourishing breath again. And I don't want to be surprised that we're going to move into our bathroom. I haven't had any hot water for a while, so I'm really grateful that Nancy and Bob Wirtz have invited me into their home so that I can take showers and feel clean in hot water and wash my hands with hot water. So we're going to move into our bathroom. So close your eyes and just imagine your bathroom in your home. How do you want the energy of that room to be? Relaxing, cleanliness, beautifying. What is it for you that the bathroom represents? What do you desire that space to be? And bring that feeling into your heart as you feel yourself in that space, feeling those qualities. And now on your third card, write down a couple of those qualities that you imagined for your bathroom. And write down something that you're grateful for about your bathroom. So once again, take a deep, nourishing breath. And as you close your eyes, imagine yourself in the bedroom of your home. Imagine the energy you want this room to be for you. Restfulness, renewal, relaxation, calm, whatever it might be. Imagine the qualities that you want this room to provide. See yourself in that space, feeling those qualities. And now on your fourth card, write down 2 or 3 of the qualities that you imagined. And again, a brief sentence about what it is you're grateful for around your bedroom. If you have an office in your room, you might want to do this for your office when the service is over. But let's figure out how does these note cards that we've made, how do they transform into an opportunity for us to rise up above any negative attitudes around this stay at home and invoke an attitude of gratitude for our homes and for being able to spend some time in them. When service is over, what I request of you is that on each of your notes you write an affirmation. For example, in the living room it might be something like, how is it I so easily and willingly are grateful for this place in my home where I can feel safe and alive. Use some of the qualities that you put on that card to write your affirmation. And then take each of your cards after you've done that. Put them in the appropriate room. So you put your living room card in your living room, somewhere that you'll see it. And your kitchen card in your kitchen, and so on. And when you walk by the card, be in the present moment and stop and repeat the affirmation aloud. How is that I so willingly and easily am grateful for this place in my home where I can feel alive and safe. And just spend a moment embracing that thought. And the rooms that we pass through the most, of course, will be doing that a lot. But you might notice throughout the week that you're starting to be aware of more joy in your house, more joy in your home. Ernest Holmes in Richer Living said this: wherever we may be, or wherever we may go, the Christ is in the ship. For lo, I am with you always. And it is our privilege under every circumstance to awaken this Christ. So let us be useful and mindful of these cards in our home. Let us use them to be transformed by the renewing of our minds into places that bring us joy and comfort. Let us awaken to the Christ in each of our ships. Let us invoke our God side on a daily basis. Let us rise up to all that we can be. Let's write our own Easter story. That story of empowerment. That story of knowing the light, the truth of Spirit's presence is at the center of our being. And it burns with this power for us that we can use to move past the doubts, to move past the betrayals and the crucifixions, and to move into the renewal of all that's good in our lives, to move into our own Easter resurrection. What's the one thing that you can do today to easily and willingly remember that wherever you go, wherever you may be, the Christ is in your ship? If you happen to get caught up in the COVID-19 pandemic, whether it be because the news is on all the time, remember the 3 breaths. Breath 1, there's only one life. Breath 2, that life is God. And breath 3, that life is my life now. I want to leave you with some words from a mentor of mine during my ministerial school, Reverend Dr. Christian Sorensen. He sent out a little note this week, and it had 7 ways to lean into your higher faith. I might put that as 7 ways to lean into your God side. So I'm going to challenge you to use some of these this week. The first one is breathe, relax, and look up into the heavens at the clouds and stars. Number 2, meditate on your infinite nature that exists on the periphery of your human feelings. Number 3, Become mindfully aware of the present moment. Number 4, listen to good music, like that of Gary Lynn Floyd, and I hope you will go out and support him during these times. Number 5, get outside, get your hands in Mother Earth, and do some spring gardening. Now, I realize we're supposed to have some storms today, so today might not be the day for that, but I'm sure there'll be some sunny days coming up. Number 6, get some outdoor exercise, but leave your earbuds at home and really hear the birds sing with the joy of spring. My mama used to say that phrase, after the storm, the birds sing. And what I know is after the storm of this pandemic, the birds will be singing and will be so happy to be together again in person. Number 7, make restful sleep and healthy eating a priority. Number 8, be fully present in conversation with those you care about. So when you call people on the phone, really listen behind what they're saying to the real message. Number 8. No, that was number 8. Number 9. Be responsive instead of reactive by finding a state of relaxation, thus eliciting and digesting the body's natural healing system. I'd like to add number 10 and 11, my own little additions. Number 10, connect with someone whom you felt disconnected to. And if you can't connect with them in person for whatever reason, maybe it doesn't feel comfortable, send them love from your heart to theirs. They'll feel it. And last but not least, number 11, do something so silly that it makes you laugh at yourself. Laughter is always a good healing power. So have a happy Easter. Enjoy your day in whatever way we're celebrating. Let's pray. So just connecting again to that power within each of us, that Christ that is in our ship. Recognizing that we can create our own Easter story. We can let go of the sufferings and the crucifixions and the betrayals and rise up to a life that's incredibly joyful. So what I know to be the truth is that this Easter day is exactly the way it's supposed to be, that there is divine order in it, that perhaps Mother Nature has sent us to our rooms to remember what's really important and who we've come here to be. And I am grateful. I am grateful for this community. I am grateful for all of the opportunities that this change in our services, this change in how our center operates has brought about. I'm grateful for the extended connections that we're making through these Facebook Live messages. And it's from all that gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, because what I know in the depths of my heart is that Spirit has already said, wow, look at that spring that's happening in that center. Is that not beautiful? So I can just say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is.